The doll that came from the river. Before she was a doll. Before she was a mold. Before she became a memory. She was a young woman. No one knows her name, but she might have had a simple one, the kind whispered softly when saying goodbye. Perhaps she was walking alone that afternoon. Perhaps she wore a light dress, made heavy by the water, as if the river itself had decided to keep her. There were no signs of violence on her body. That was the first thing that unsettled those who found her. Her skin was untouched. Her hands, relaxed. Her face serene, almost peaceful. And so the questions began. Some believed it was suicide. They said rivers sometimes welcome those who no longer find their place in the world. That water does not push, it invites. That perhaps she stepped in quietly, without struggle, tired, seeking to disappear without pain. Others rejected that idea. They insisted there were no signs of fear, no trace of resistance in her expression. Maybe she slipped. Maybe a sudden fainting, a silent illness, overcame her near the riverbank. In a time when a fever, a weak heart, or a simple dizziness could end a life, anything was possible. The truth was never known. But everyone agreed on one unsettling detail. She did not look like someone who had suffered. When they pulled her from the river, someone said she looked as if she was sleeping. Someone else whispered that she was beautiful in an uncomfortable way. As if death had failed to erase her presence completely. That was when someone, an artisan, a doctor, perhaps just a silent observer, made a strange decision to preserve her face. Not as a tribute, not as a study, but as if that calm expression deserved to remain in the world a little longer. Thus, the mold was made. And with it, a quiet obsession was born. In 19th century Europe, when rivers still held secrets and death was part of everyday life, that mask began to circulate. Some place its origin in France, others along river routes leading into northern Italy. The exact location dissolves with time, as memories often do. But the face remained. In dark workshops, among plaster, wood, and silence, human figures without life began to appear, the first dummies. They were not toys. They were training bodies, forms created to practice, to observe, to learn. Human shapes without a soul. Among the names that echo faintly through history appears James Cowell, linked to the early creation of anatomical figures and training mannequins. Whether he was a creator, a pioneer, or merely a witness is unclear. As with all true legends, the origin is not a single point, but a constellation. Italy added the artisan's soul. In cities where marble had learned to resemble flesh, the figures became more refined. Perfect proportions, precise molds. There, the dummy ceased to be merely technical and began to look unsettlingly human. But the face always returned to the river. Decades later, that same serene expression found a new purpose, teaching how to save lives. The dummy used for medical training carried the calm of that unknown woman. Thousands learned how to breathe for her, how to press her chest, how to symbolically bring her back to the world. A perfect irony. Death teaching life. Today, when we see a mannequin in a store, a crash test dummy, or a medical training doll, we think they are objects without a story. But beneath the plastic and foam, an old question remains. Who are we really imitating? Perhaps it is not just the human body. Perhaps it is the boundary itself. That moment when life seems to have left. But not entirely. And maybe that is why, when we stare at a dummy for too long, we feel something difficult to name. Not fear, not rejection, but the strange sensation that someone, from the depths of the river, is still watching us.